Too many people, and that's stressful. So
Don't worry, you can
yeah.
fold away the sidebar, then you don't even know. So yeah, welcome everybody to SUSE QE Tools workshop. As you can see, Jan is also already getting set up. Story for today about openQA, MCP, and AI agents. So take it away.
Yeah. Good morning. First of all, I would like to make a poll and ask how many of you have used already the MCP in openQA.
I have.
Yeah, you can raise hands or something. Did you try out?
So at least one other person.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you know or how. So I will try to make an introduction and discuss different things. What is already there, what we offer, and what's the limitations or the upside on this tool. The main thing is like we want to promote the MCP because it's important, I think, to start using it to take advantage of this new area that is all around AI and MCP. And so, what is MCP, right? It's basically the protocol. It wasn't developed in the beginning for developers, but it makes easy for now to create this abstraction, create an easy way to create clients around to do things. The main purpose was to bridge a bridge between the model and the real world, because the model by its own couldn't do request network request. So they had to find a way to bring this to know how to talk to the real world, which is also bring confusion with API, because many people compare it with API, but it's not really, there are differences, right? First of all, in API, you have the control, you do the request, you know what you to expect. Maybe a very good introduction is in this link here. Wait, do I have it? Which is this? Actually, no. A better representation is this probably, because
One thing that I'm seeing kind of quite a blurry screen from you. Can others confirm, or is this only on my side?
It's blurry. Me as well.
It's not readable in fact.
So Janis, can you try to reshare or use a different browser instance, please?
oh, the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole screen is blurry. I mean, before it was just big text, so it would not that big of a deal, but here that would be good if it becomes a bit more crisp.
For me, it's not blurry for some reason. I'm joining with the Android client.
So you have a tiny screen? Maybe?
Well, at least,
Okay.
yeah, maybe that's the reason. I can still see the text. So, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, Jan still try to reshare or share it over a different browser instance.
Okay, let me stop.
Sometimes in the past it helped to just try again and improve.
Oli, you, I would say, regularly connect to this meeting. How you would say, what was the last time when you see so many people join?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Janis managed to fill up the audience pretty quick, probably like once a year, not more. He had that.
Not trying to say something bad about Yanis, but I think it's not Yanis, but AI term.
Possibly. Yep. Okay, so um, let's see. Hi again, Yanis. So just try to share screen again. I don't know if this is a different browser or just the same. This looks better. Thank you.
So yeah, I stop here.
Yeah, you can show the diagram.
Yeah, I wanted to say, because I forgot that, let's I don't want too many questions, because I want to leave space at the end for discussion, and I want to also tell you that I'm not specialist on this, so might be inconsistencies, and we can discuss at the end, right? So I was trying to show what is the idea of MCP that is different from API, and basically in openQA we provide this MCP server, right? So you need it's different components. You need a host, which host consists imagine the ChatGPT, and then behind this you have the client, the MCP client that can communicate with the MCP server, and then retrieves and does his thing with external services. This is a good representation of the whole thing. If you know, can someone say what is missing here? It doesn't see. It's not obvious.
Where does the human operator come in?
No, it's in the host application. When you type in the chat or whatever your prompt.
I have one question.
No
Where does open?
questions.
Okay,
At the end, keep it everything in the chat so we can have a discussion.
all right.
Anyway, here it doesn't. I want to distinguish that this is not an agent. It's not agenting anything behind this. It's just a plain thing that sends a request and retrieves data from the services, right? So, and this, the main thing that maybe you need to take away is like that there are three things that you have to remember. It provides tools, prompts, and resources. Very short, the tools is the action that you're gonna take. We're gonna see later in the demo how more or less it works, right? And let's keep it simple. Actions that has to perform. The resources is the data that the data that can see, the AI can look at, and the prompt is like pre-written instructions that guides how it responds. Okay. So the MCP server usually gonna talk and return to the client what is possible to do, what is we are allowed to see in the server. So right now the openQA MCP provides a very good framework with all the required principles that it has to have, and which means that it supports the streamable HTTP, which is the main thing that the whole thing drives to in replace to SSC, the how it's called site service and events for some limitations, because there were some limitations. What is the streamable HTTP? Basically allows for the big response to handle the big responses from the request. We have only 3 tools. That is server. You can request servers information about the server for one job details and its log files. The authentication, of course, but it relays on is the same as the openQA, right? It's not integrated in the MCP. And we also has the security, because at the moment we have only read-only tools. There are limitations with size and it, yeah. And MCP session ID, which is very good job from in general, how we support many things from the protocol. But there are many limitations, and it's because we try to integrate to request to add this MCP in different places like a cloud connector and here and there, but we don't have a privacy policy. We don't have authentication which can the AI can authenticate automatically. There is no tools. The tools is limited in sense that we cannot have access to the needles. There is this limitation between, because in openQA there is a lot of visual stuff and text. What does? And it's in a very basic form. And there is also the human factor that I want to talk a little bit later, which is going a little bit further than the MCP. So as you can see, there are many things to improve, but we need to start using it to see what needs needs to implement it. I think it's important to do this work, because this is a new area, this is the new kid in the town, this is the new game, and it can improve our work. Right now, if you want to debug something and some test fail, you have to do a lot of manual work between many people, many teams. And at the moment, the MCP can help. I will see a demo later, but also has the limitations that cannot track the history. It doesn't have a historical patterns of the events, right? And this is something that MCP can provide, or any other tool, AI tool that we can think of to implement. But it needs extra work. So, yeah, I guess everyone agree that it will be nice to have a tool that can query and have some results programmatically. Let's see a demo to. I took one job, which is this one right now, because I try.
That's from the live instance of openQA OpenSUSE.org, right?
Yeah. In the beginning, I took this one, but I will tell you later, this shows a lot of limitations, right? So I try another one, which is most recent, is this one from Micros 5 days ago. It fails here. You can see the error here clearly. The openQA fails in the needle, and it's not real live demo because for good reasons. Anyway, the prompt was like just this: why job?
Could you zoom in? Make this bigger.
A bit.
Yeah. So why job X fails in openQA? Okay.
Yeah, very simple job. And the first thing that it does is like you see here that it's going and finds the server have provided the tools, and that you can see also if you say this is the 3 tools that we provide. It is discoverable automatically, and then if you connect the AI, it can say, okay, I need to use this tool for to serve the request, and it asks me if I should allow it or not. I say yes, and it returns some data. This is it. Here you can see one of the limitations, because the request for logs, then he tries to look at the logs, and the logs has a limit. So he cannot, but this can also change, because now the models, the Gemini, I think also others, provide from thousands to become millions in the context window, so it can be a little bit better. And going all this, gets the logs, blah blah blah, and without me doing anything more, I think at the end he comes up with a good conclusion from the brief view that I had on the test, right? You can see it here, known issues, blah, blah, blah. So he found what's the problem, reports what it can be, or what's the problem. In another case, the old one, I had it didn't really, took very long time. The last time I had different results, and it hallucinated a little bit. So this is completely wrong, in my opinion. But I didn't took too much. And here you can see how you can ask for workers and stuff. I leave it to see how to have a real life demo. Here it is. Quite well. This is for the demo. I don't know if you want or someone wants to try something else. Where I left. So this for demo. If you want to configure it, it's very easy, and there is documentation. You just need to find there are different places to store this to run the MCP servers, this JSON thing. To find the right place and just this. And there is also the a one-line command for Gemini, Cloud, or whatever to add it also. If you have questions, you can let me know. And my main thing, I want to make it a little bit more interesting, because I guess all this is a little bit boring. It's that there is a new area, and we need to discuss widely. Because now, imagine that you want to make, I think every one of us, and I saw also initiatives from Zotland and other people, they want to find a way to leverage and implement things with AI. The thing with the openQA is that it's all about data, right? It's a boring data engineering, but it's important nowadays. So anymore, it's not enough to have a test saying fail again. So let me expand on this. Let's imagine that you want to create a model to have the historical patterns or get some data from the openQA. So when you train the model, you need to have some good context. The data have to have some good quality, because if the model, you make a request and say sees fail again, it cannot do anything more than this. It doesn't understand, right? It doesn't provide the insights. What else? So my point is, we need to form a new process and find. So we have nowadays, in this case, in this area, I imagine that the logs matters. What you log from the test, how you develop the test, the comments that you put in the pull request in the test. All this can be collected and do some how do you call it? Use some to create something energetic, right? And have useful tooling. So the question is like, how do we want AI to influence us? And we have to, I have to remind you, because I think I skip it. I need to make clear that a QA is very important in this case, because there is no way to trust the AI or whatever AI includes. And you need the human factor, and now we are more responsible to create this framework that to have the control, right? So we have to explore the AI best practices. For example, one thing we could do is like, I don't know, this is also interesting how each one of you use the AI, the Gemini or whatever, to do work nowadays. Like, it could be like using a markdown architectures to have a common approach on things, on the repositories, on test repositories. I think this cannot ignore the security. So QA is very important, and it's important. This is more or less conclude the whole thing. Like, we need to focus that metadata that we have stored in openQA database in the comments here and there, so we can later create the tools that we want to do, because otherwise it's not it's not gonna be easy. And I want to end up with this. It's kind of some general questions that I would like to get from you, like what you will want an AI to do with your openQA results. One thing, for example, that is missing, if you ask me, is like now we can query just one job, but it will be nice to have test results from a group of test group. If you think that the MCP tool should be able to restart jobs or run comments, what repetitive investigation task would you like to automate? How you think you will use it better, and how do you think you could help? Because I just still need to emphasize that it's not possible without the collaboration from every squad. And this is it.
Right, we have a hand raised from Asa.
Yes, hi guys. Nice to see you, everyone. I hope you can see my camera. I'm not sure.
I
anyway.
see a black screen, if that is what you're showing.
Yeah.
But we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah,
there you are.
Here I am. Hello. Hi. So everyone, I think most of you already know me, so I'm not presenting myself, but just in case, kernel QA, I'm part of the kernel QA team. I was actually working to the same, I mean, I was facing the same issues at the moment because I was doing an automatic review system for our kernel QE patches in LTP. And I configured the agent in order to do it. And it's actually possible to do it in a, it's not so difficult, it's just a bit tricky. But if I have a couple of suggestions for you, I would say that one of the best things I found was like to have the usage of open code instead of having like the single agents CLI provided by Google or OpenAI or whatever, because that permits to create one single configuration for all of the models you want. And it's possible not to use only Gemini, but also the others. Another thing is like if you use the proper configuration for the agents, and I'm specifically talking about agents.md, which is the markdown configuration, a standard for AI models. It's possible to even configure skill, which is also a new standard which came from Anthropic. And it's possible to reproduce the results given by the model in a deterministic way. So you know that for n models, more or less, let's say not always, but it depends on how powerful it is the model, it's possible to obtain the same results. We all know that MCP tools are just scripts at the end or applications that return some data most of the time. So I think the biggest power at the moment stays on the agents MD configuration. And that's something that is really important to focus on, because without that, it's really hard to find any other information.
Yeah, this is my point, that we have to align our and Like you have to come to the QA tools, which to discuss what you need to create these tools and align the same process for all this. I agree completely that we need this kind of MD things for many reasons. Because I skip a lot of things I wanted to talk, but you know, I'm a little bit stressful. It's too many people, and I'm not. This is not for me. But yeah, this is one very good thing to maybe create a report, something to collect all this. But still, I think the priority is the data. What we store in the what logs the kernel, for example, logs. Because if you train a model, you're gonna fetch what the author said to this pull request, what the bug has a context have inside, the pull ticket, the progress ticket, and this can all come together and make something powerful, right? And this is important.
Okay, I will just share my configuration. So eventually, if you need something to start with, you can take a look at it. It's just really easy stuff. Maybe it can help to everyone.
So
Sure,
let's share it,
awesome.
or
And of course, feel free to
so
ask questions eventually. Sorry.
do any of you have any experience with MCP? First of all, I don't remember if I said that it's already enabled in O3. As you saw, the results was live demo from O3.
Yeah, I have a bit of experience because I was playing a bit with Kirk, which is the official LTP executor. And also I configured MCP on openCode a couple of times. Yeah, it's not as difficult as it seems. Actually, it's pretty straightforward. I would say that the only real, let's say, issue, not real issue, but whatever, it's like the fact that it's in Python. So if you implement it in Rust or in C or whatever, you know that you need to call the subsystem, the subprocess, Python subprocess, which is not a problem, but you know that it adds a bit of complexity because you also need to take out maybe information from the application. So usually the Python scripts works better with the MCP.
Right. I don't know because I skipped completely this part and I don't want to miss it. We need to give thanks a lot to Sebastian, which I don't know if it's here, which makes this possible. He created the server and maintains the whole thing. And
yeah, I see that MCP is also supported by other languages. I only tried Python. Sorry for the wrong information.
so, how do you use the MCP, or how do you interact with openQA, or what do you would like to see? Because one step for me is the next tool that can implement it is like these test results.
I mean,
aggregation of the test results.
I think that everything you can do with MCP tools can be actually do by a script most of the times. You just because it's just an interface for the model. So once you have your own application extracting some data or executing something in your system or anything, configuring even, then you can do it with a script most of the times. But in this case, by connecting it to the model, you can type a human readable, let's say, operations, and he will do it. But
you mean by bust the MCP, just create a script that do AI and fetch from the web?
It's just a way to AI to understand the, let's say, applications usage. but it's
Yeah, but
kind of
this is different because the MCP can give you the MCP suppose knows the server. We know what we serve. We can be more secure. It's not the same, I think.
maybe we are, I don't know if we're understanding each other at the moment, but
Maybe.
what I know from MCP tools is just that you have an applications that permits to extend the power of the LLM by talking to LLM in a human readable language and applying some operations on the system where you have the MCP installed. This is what I know. So if you want to execute binaries, if you want to extract data from your own application or database or anything, you can have an application that is exposed with the MCP protocol, and the LLM recognize it, and you can work with it. So this is the case of OpenQA. The thing is that once you extract the data from OpenQA, it's really important that, as you said already, the data which is provided by OpenQA is consistent between systems. So if you have 10 machines where 10 developers are working on it, you must be sure that the result is always the same for all of them. And this is not easy to achieve because maybe they can use different kind of models also sometimes. But with a proper agents configuration and skill configuration, I think this is achievable. And I already achieved it in LTP, and I think it's working.
Yeah, this is going in another direction, but I want to mention this, that also this is hard to achieve because if you have a long session and I have just started a session, my results is going to be different from yours, because what is going on is like in the beginning he starts and tries to give you, you know that you expect an answer, so he tries to give you the best answer he can. He does a big research and everything, but then if you have a long session, it start cutting the reduce the effort and just says, okay, he needs an answer, I'm gonna give him a short to minimize the context window, and the answer is not so good as it is when you start the session.
Yeah,
so
yeah, this is
it
true.
can be different answers.
This is true. It's a problem related to the LLM, which are human pleasers by definitions. So unfortunately, this is how it works. That's why I was talking about a proper agents configuration and skills setup, because in that way you can explicitly tell to LLM that it has to do something and must do something. So for instance, if you want to have always the same output, you need to tell the LLM, you need to write a configuration in order to tell the LLM that it must write always the same result. And this is something that is achievable, even if you have a longer context, even if two people are working on a different models, but on the same system. If you take a look at my configuration, you will see that this is already, you can see it from the review.md file that is written in a imperative way. So this is the only way to tell the LLM that has to result all the times the same text. Otherwise, as you said, the longer is the context, the lower is the amount of information it will provide.
Or the quality of the response. Well, any other ideas? Or
yeah, Janis, you asked for questions in the chat, so there are, well, 2 questions now. Where does openQA sit in the block diagram? And the second question is where the code is for the agent MD that you guys just mentioned.
The,
That was the
the
link
first
to
question.
the
The,
LTP page, right?
the first question is I open the. You still can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
It's here. Instead of Slack MCP server, imagine this is the openQA thing. Here, the host application is your computer with the ChatGPT, and the MCP client is the configuration that you want in the settings JSON. Doesn't need the this, but this helps a lot. Otherwise, it's just response back. If you say, I want what's the job settings, it's gonna give you just the JSON. But with AI, it has some more automated. And the second question is?
It's fine. The agents MD is the one that Andrea showed as an example for the LTP project, and one would need to have specific agents MD files for certain projects. For example, I set up one myself for the coding projects where I'm using AI assisted coding. And what we can do is think about sharing those files for the relevant projects. Here, one has to distinguish between, when we're talking about an agent's MD file in openQA, then that would be likely more the one that developers of openQA would use. But of course, we can think about sharing certain skills for working with openQA as an openQA user. It would be different. So, Yanis, I want to ask you what you shared some interesting details, and you also shared the open points and what is relevant to ensure that this whole system is usable. What would you like to get as confirmation or maybe answer here? Anything that we could provide you?
Me? I just really want people to come to us and say, can we do this? This is,
Yeah.
so we can work on it, because it needs a lot of data, right? So, and
Okay.
to organize a future effort, I cannot say more, because in this page that in this slide, the linking context, the whys and what is very important to move on and make some tools, because I think really anyone tries out and tries to find out what is going to be next in SUSE. In the SUSE strategy is also in this direction, and we need to help this also from our side. I think is the main thing to consider first. How we represent our data and how valuable are, how, sorry for my poor.
Yep. You see the hand raised in the audience?
Yes, go on.
Hello.
Hey.
Here, Michele. Well, something I would like to ask. So we was talking how we are using, let's say, LLM in general to analyze results. And I think the point is that each of us has like different strategy approaches. Even some of them like depends on the area that we are testing. Let's do a concrete example. For example, I'm from QE SAP I mean, we have some tests in the cloud, and when we review the result, we have same test running in different cloud providers. For example, and we know that some of the failure need to be cross-referenced between them. No, so like if I have a failure only in one place, in one flavor, and not in the other, it's quite like to be a test issue. If I have the same failure across multiple places, it's more like it's a product bug or something. So generally speaking, each of us, like a QE engineer, have some knowledge, no? And the point is where to place it, or where to list, or where to make proposal, for example, for new API for the MCP. This is my point. No, in my experience, what I'm keep doing is not using the MCP. I'm keep, for example, sort of vibe coding small scripts to help me analyze long logs. No? So I'm like manually download, I don't know, a serial terminal log, very long one. And then I'm never asking the LLM to just analyze it. I'm used to like ask the LLM to write a bash script or something simple to extract some key information. And again, I'm keep doing it, but maybe my script is valuable for other colleagues.
Yes.
How to share? Where to share? This is my point.
As a simple answer from my side, this is a great approach because it is so easy to build things. Why not do that? And if you want, the very first approach before going further with consolidating is have it in an open source project. Yeah.
Okay.
Because, you know, I also have my personal scripts, which I share on my GitHub profile, like the git config and other stuff. So it's clear that this is in my personal scope. So it's not consolidated. It's not like team effort, but at least it is shareable. And from then on, what I did in the past already is that some minor cases I upstreamed and put that into shared scope afterwards. But I guess you can start with a personal thing first, share it, and then maybe 10% out of it is ready to be consolidated into a bigger, more shared scope.
And how can I let other colleagues know? Like maybe just sharing my repository,
exactly
something like this.
Look, I think first of all the information is already in openQA in the database that this test has failed with this reason, in another test for this reason. The thing is that then we need to implement extend the MCP to return this.
Yes. Okay.
Well, yeah,
This is
okay.
what
So
I think.
MCP can be the shortcut to have a consistent and designed entry point into a system like openQA. But of course, everything else is also possible. So for example, you can just directly download any kind of logs and assets from openQA tests. No problem with that. You don't need MCP for that. And that is possible.
Then how do you make the CP useful?
Yeah, it's by combining those two together to have this consistent endpoint and maybe extend it where useful step by step. But I'm just saying that if something is not available over MCP, it's still possible.
I think it can be. Just we are just in the beginning. I just I forgot what I want to say.
Well, then maybe it will come to you in one of the follow-up sessions in next month, because I'm sure we will bring up this topic again. So, Janis, how about we conclude here and give an outlook?
Yes, I want also to bring up that we work also in some things to integrate openQA with some more visual way, so you can go from openQA to chat interface and connect it to the MCP and do things. So far, it comes with some limitations, so I left it out of the demonstration.
All right, then if I may, I would quickly take over to share the screen just to present what was planned for the next topic. So in 2 weeks from now, we will, on the 6th of March, we will present the results of our saga, which was mostly conducted by the QE Infra Squad, about reliable and resilient QE infrastructure management. This is a big saga which has some older and some newer work that we resolved over the past months, going back even more than a year. So I'm looking forward to share you some stories and achievements which we did there. So with that, thank you everybody, and thank you foremost to Yannis, and goodbye.